Stay tuned to meet a couple who's determined to spread the gospel in unique ways. My name is Jason Bradley, and you're watching Urban Report. Hello and welcome to Urban Report. My guests today are Dr. Roland J. Hill, president of UPMI, and his wonderful wife, Dr. Susie Hill, and she is the vice president of UPMI. Welcome to Urban Report.
Well, we're excited about being here, Jason.
Thank you for having us.
You're very welcome. I'm excited to have you here on so many different levels.
Oh, wow.
You've been on Foundation of Our Faith. You've
That's
been preaching some serious, powerful sermons. And I also attended your entrepreneur camp when I was, 14 or 15 years
14.
old?
Yeah, you were just a little guy.
Yes.
But you're a grown man now.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's taking it way back. Mm-hmm. We actually have some pictures when I was at the camp. I'd like to start just putting those up, and we'll just go through those pictures there. Wow. Yeah, that is old. I'm there in the back row. I see.
Yeah, we went to the bank there because we were teaching you about being responsible financially.
I love it.
And they were showing us, these are the students that attended when you were there.
Nice. Yeah, I remember I used to get a ride home. That was Aaron down there towards the bottom. He used to give me a ride home. That was in Dallas, yes.
So you were a great group of kids to work with. We were excited about watching the growth during that camp.
Amen. I was excited to be there. You guys were excellent instructors, and you were passionate about what you were teaching because you wanted to really empower the youth. What led to you starting that camp?
Well, actually, the first one was done in 1999. I actually thought about what our youth were doing, and we teach entrepreneurship to adults, but we did not do it for young people. So we started the first one, and we ran it at the Martin Luther King Jr. Community Center in Dallas.
Wow.
And we had 6 students for our first one. It was like our pilot program.
Yes.
We met 5 weeks.
5
days. Yeah, 5 weeks.
Wow.
5 days a week, and we were with them 6 hours a day. Every single day we took youth because we saw that they needed an alternate route in life.
Yes.
So we took the time to help them identify their gifts and their talents and showed them how to identify a need in the community. And they actually wrote a business plan. You wrote a business plan too.
I did.
And some of those students started their businesses as soon as they graduated from the camp. They had to present their business plan. You remember presenting yours. You had to present your business plan and then go ahead and start it. So it gave them an opportunity to think in terms of, besides if you didn't go to college or if you did go to college, you have something else that you can fall back on and still make it.
No, we were really dealing with at-risk youth right in the Dallas area. In fact, one of the guys that came to the camp, he was actually put out of his home, and he was sleeping with friends while he was in the camp.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we've been committed to at-risk youth. That's why we started the camp.
And these are young kids.
These are young kids.
So the youngest age is 11 and all the way to 20. And so we have run several camps. In the summer, we've run some after school and after school programs and all across the country. And it's really made a big difference in the lives of a lot of our youth. They remember it. Yes. They always come back years later and they say, I remember what you taught me in that camp.
Absolutely. I say that too. That's huge.
To be honest, a number of the young people have come back and said, listen, please keep the camps going.
Yes.
Because it made such a difference in their life. Now, there's one guy in particular that was on the streets. Actually, his parents put him out. If it had not been for the program, he'd probably be in prison right now.
Wow.
But he took the concepts. He started his own little business, finishing up high school. And what was it called?
Let me tell you what he did. It was pretty ingenious. He decided that he would rent an extra locker at school and bought supplies, paper, pencils, and candy, and he would sell them in between classes. He paid $9 to get an extra locker at school, and he called it Jigga Locker Treats.
Wow.
That's truly urban.
Truly urban.
yeah.
And he made enough money to buy his own clothes. He made enough money to even have a cell phone.
Wow.
And he was doing well. And his mom saw that he was changing his life around, and she let him come back home because he made a commitment to do the right thing.
You know, it's interesting. That shows that he was scaling his business too.
That is right.
So, you know, because he wasn't just taking the profits and just spending it frivolously. He was reinvesting into his business. So he learned some valuable lessons.
Right.
I have a friend that was there, and he started a restaurant. He went off to start a restaurant in Dallas. And he was at the camp. So it's producing results.
In the summer you were there was a young lady. She came with her hands folded, and she was mad. And she started walking in. She's in the pictures, and she said, "I'm here." And she said, he's the one that's going to be talking to you about registering me. It was her dad.
Oh,
she was so angry. But do you know, by the time we finished the camp, she had written her business plan to run her own barbershop. The news media came and did a report on her. She was braiding hair. She made more money than her parents were making monthly braiding hair. She had 22 customers. And at the end of the day, she went and got her barber's license and started earning money when she left our camp.
Wow, that is huge. That is huge. Empowering the community. I want to transition into UPMI. First off, what does UPMI stand for?
United Prison Ministries International. And we've been around for 41 years.
Yes.
And it's been exciting to move into leadership because our founders, Richard and Carolyn Bland, laid a solid foundation. Now, they're in their 80s and 90s, and so it was time for a transition to be made, and the Lord worked it where we were asked to lead the organization.
Yes, and so as the new leaders of UPMI, what's the direction that you see it taking? Where do you want this to go?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. You see it in the Youth Entrepreneur Business Camp. One of the things we want to do is we want to work with at-risk youth. We also want to make sure that prisoners get an opportunity to be self-reliant. You know, what we've discovered is that you can teach them about Jesus, but you got to take it further than that. So part of what we see in the future is to add what we've been doing in the past, and that is giving good, solid, Christian-based material, and adding to that Christian-based material, teaching them how to be self-reliant.
Yes, and so what are some of the tips, for example, like you're talking about teaching them how to be self-reliant. So what are some of the tools or the strategies or the tips that you're providing them with to help them get to that point?
Well, actually, what we've done is we've designed what we call the 330K project or program, and that's designed to train and equip about 330,000 ex-offenders and prisoners over the next 5 years.
Wow.
You heard me correct. We have high goals, a high vision, 330,000 prisoners and ex-offenders over the next 5 years, with the purpose of teaching them how to be self-reliant. Now, I heard your question. Your question was, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to teach them self-worth. And you do that by helping them develop their own life's skills.
Yes.
And then we teach them financial literacy, and then we share with them how to start and run and operate a business. Now, we don't go into the details of it. We give them the basics of what it takes to have a business mind and then run the business when they get out.
Yeah.
What's nice about it is that we've used these materials with people who are not incarcerated, and we've seen the results that it's had in their lives. So we have repurposed this information for the incarcerated individuals who are thinking in terms of how they're going to survive and how they're going to make it. And these skills have worked. Just like the same skills we taught in the Youth Entrepreneur Business Camp. We're simply just transferring it over to the incarcerated individuals. And it's really, we're excited. We can't wait.
Yeah.
But the reason why we're excited, because there are 2.2 million of our brothers and sisters behind bars,
Yes.
in jail,
Yes.
incarcerated. Every year, 600,000 of them get out of jail. Wow. That's a large number.
That is.
But now the problem is, within 3 to 5 years, 76% of them are back in jail again.
Wow.
So what we said at UPMI, we've given them a Christian foundation, but now what we want to do is say, hey, you don't have to go back. The Christian material that we're providing you now saying, not only can you be, quote, saved, but you can be self-reliant. Why? Because now you know you are the job. You can create your own business.
So you're seeking to help reduce the recidivism rate by providing them with practical tools for living in the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's what we do with Dare to Dream, too.
That's correct.
Yes.
That's right. This
I
is
love
exciting.
this.
Right.
I love this.
No, we understand that if you don't change a prisoner's philosophy of life, he will never change.
Yes.
And so what we call it's the PREP program. It's the Prison Economic Reform Educational Program. And it's designed to train them to think differently about life.
Yes.
We want to make sure that I don't know if I told you this, dear. We need to rescue them with SOS.
Now, break that down.
Oh, I was
always
Unpack
coming up
that,
with
unpack
something
that. Yes.
The S is we need to make sure that they're saved.
Okay.
Yes.
The O is we need to make sure that they're optimistic because your view on life determines your outcome. And then last, we want to make sure that they're self-reliant. And so that's what we're launching out with the new phase of UPMI. UPMI has done an extremely great work through the years. When you think about it, we're in over 3,000 prisons.
Yes, and we have actually distributed 76 million pieces of Christian literature.
Wow.
I think you need to say it again.
76 million.
76 million?
That's the last count, but that was the last count, but we're still continuing.
Yes.
Over the last 41 years, we have distributed over 76 million pieces of Christian literature to prisoners for free. For free. And it is amazing because we are in every state. We are in over 3,000 prisons and in 72 countries of the world. So our material goes everywhere. And
that's huge. Now, I'm sure that it's free to them,
it's
but
free
it's
to
not
them.
free to you.
Oh, no.
No.
That
It's not
comes
free
with
to
a
us.
little fee there. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
It costs us to purchase the material and to send it out.
Yes.
We also pay for printing. We have to
That's
print the
correct.
material. So we do the printing, we do the packaging, and we do the shipping.
And of course, we run a pretty large operation. We
Yes.
own 66 acres, okay?
Wow.
And we have about 21 people on the staff. And so when you're talking about running an operation, you can't get this volume of material out to prisoners without having a staff. And so, yeah, we do it for free, but it does cost us heavily. And that's why we depend so heavily on donors to help us to do this God work. Because this is what Jesus told us to do.
Yes.
He said, when I come back again, I'm going to ask, have you visited me in prison? And that got me excited because that's Jesus in prison.
Yes.
So I want to make sure that we visit Jesus with our brothers and sisters in prison.
Yes. What where did your conviction, where did your passion for the incarcerated population, where did that come into play? Like, what caused that?
Well, can I say this? It was actually, it was years ago when we were in Texas at the time. You were invited to go to the prison, and my husband said, he was a pastor now. You were teaching at that point.
I was teaching at that
but
time.
you had pastored
Yes.
for at least 16 years before that, and prison ministry was something that someone else did, not something that we actually did.
So there was a brother in the community. You're telling all the. You're
We
telling
didn't
it
do
all.
it. We didn't do it. It wasn't us.
So, I had an interest. I'm a pastor. I got called to pastor at age 6. All I've ever wanted to be is a pastor. So I've always had a heart for people, whether they were incarcerated or not. I've had a deep burning desire for the souls of men.
Yes.
But I never really felt the strong call to go behind bars. And this brother would come to me when I was a professor at Southwestern Adventist University. He would come to me and say, Doc, can you come and help us out to the prisons? I said, well, I use all kind of excuses. All kind of excuses.
You pulled a Moses.
I did.
Okay.
I did. And then finally one day I'm in devotion, and I was speaking to the Lord, and I said, Lord, I want to reach black men. And God said, they're in prison. And it shook me. And literally a short time after it, this same gentleman called me and said, Doc, would you come and teach this concept of theoeconomics in the prisons? And of course, I couldn't refuse because God has spoken to me.
Yes.
And so I taught for 6 weeks a concept that I've written about. You know, I've actually written about 22 books. I've published 20. I love to write. It's a calling of God, and that's what we're going to bring to UPMI.
Okay.
We're not going to get just everybody else's material. We're able to produce our own material that's directed directly to our brothers and sisters, all right? And so I taught this theoeconomics in prison, and the guys they just ate it up. Because it talked about the economy of God. It talked about a different philosophy. It told the prisoners that you don't have to be locked in what you see. You can trust God for what he promises you. But now the problem, Jason, is after I finished teaching, I got busy doing other things. And it was not until
last year, just before, in fact, it was the last Sabbath before everything shut down. The churches were shut down in the middle of March. We went to church that Sabbath. They were having prison ministry day.
Tell the whole story.
Yeah.
Tell the whole story.
I said, honey, let's go to
She said,
church.
They announced prison ministry, and I said, I'm not going to church this Sabbath.
I said, honey, we got to go to church. I want to go. He said, we're not going.
You were trying to escape that conviction.
That's correct.
You knew there was a conviction waiting on you.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you know what? My husband then said, we're going to go. And when we went, it was amazing what God did on that Sabbath.
The Spirit of the Lord just came over me. I literally was moved to tears while the guy was preaching. And I mean, God says, now, you made a commitment 25 years ago that you run away from. It's time to take it up. And to add to the inspiration, the guy this chaplain brought as a testimony about what prison ministry is all about was a guy, I was his resident assistant his freshman year at Oakwood.
Wow.
I hadn't seen him in 40 years. And he made the confession to me. He said, I've been in prison for 20 years. I never knew it. Wow. And it was out of that reconnect that the Lord started moving on my heart. I like the way one of the founders said, Carolyn says it, Carolyn Brand, I got prison fever. I mean, it just got in me, and we actually start talking about prison ministry in a television show that I do every week, Chapel in the Air. I start talking about it, and then God sent me to call UPMI, and that's how the connection came. Wow.
So that's why we're here.
I love it. I want to rewind. Now, this is going way back. You said that you got the calling to be a pastor at the age of 6. There are a lot of people that are out there that are wondering, you know, what calling does God have on my life? How did you recognize that calling that God placed on your life at that early age?
Well, you know, I grew up in a preacher's home. I'm a son of a preacher. Okay, not a son of a gun, but a son of a preacher.
Gotcha.
Okay, all right? And at a young age, God just softened my heart. And one Sabbath when my father was preaching, the Spirit of the Lord just came on me at 6-year-old. And I just walked down the aisle, man. And I gave my heart to Jesus, and I heard my call to the ministry. And that's all I've ever wanted to do. Wow. I've never wanted to be a doctor, a fireman, lawyer, none of that. I just wanted to be a preacher. And I've had such a passion for preaching. Man, when I was in academy in high school, I wore ties to school.
Wow.
That's correct.
Yeah.
If you talk to any of the people that I went to school with me, they will tell you he always acted like a preacher.
Wow. And not only that, when he was growing up, he has a sister that's 2 years younger than him.
Yes.
And he talks about this all the time. He says, he played preacher. She would sit on the front row with her dolls, and he would preach to his sister and her dolls, and then he would practice baptizing her.
I baptized my sister at least 1,000 times.
Wow.
She ought to be saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost now.
So it was in his blood.
Yes.
But by the way, Jason, that's why we're so sensitive to young people.
Yes. And you help at-risk youth.
That's correct.
Let's transition into that. Let's talk about how you help the at-risk youth.
And that's the reason why we could identify with the need of working with children. We know when we catch them young, we can keep them out of jail.
Yeah, it really
Yes.
matters. In fact, it's an excellent way to keep them from going into jail because they know before they finish and graduate from high school that they have something to hold on to.
That's right.
Many of them have actually, even the one we just ran this summer, we ran a youth entrepreneur summer business camp, and one of the young ladies at the graduation when they presented their business plan, she said, I already have a customer. Somebody already called me.
Wow.
She's going to be helping people make decisions about how to organize their home, almost like an interior decorator. But she is a high school student who is already, and she's already postured herself to do that. And she said, I already have a customer.
Yes.
So instead of allowing her to just come out and, just sit around and not really know what she's going to do with her life, it's making a difference. When they come from single parent homes, it really is challenging for single parent, whether it's a mom or a dad, trying to raise children and keep them on the straight and narrow path. Every parent says, thank you so much. And one of the kids said this summer, are we doing this again next summer? Please, we want to do it. I want to join. I want to come back.
Yeah, they want round 2.
And you know what's interesting? The community loves this type of program.
Yes.
And we were actually blessed to get quite a bit of support from businessmen and women in the community.
I love it.
And we've done it through the years. And when they see we're making the investment in our children, many of them understand where prison is. They can see the prison pathway. If you don't invest in your children now, you can expect them to pay the bill when they get in jail because the community still pays.
Yes, yes, absolutely. What kind of challenges have you faced with COVID and, UPMI and going into prisons?
Well, one of the things we found that when COVID hit, there were no more in-person chapel meetings. They shut that down in all of the prisons. So the prisoners had to stay in their cells. UPMI stepped up. We have received more requests for literature. So the pandemic has been a blessing on that front.
Yes.
So we're strong. We're handing out thousands of literature, more than we've done before as a result of the pandemic. So that turned out to be a blessing.
Wow.
And what has happened, because the pandemic has affected all of the world, and so we're getting requests from other countries of the world for literature for their prisoners. In fact, over the next few months, we're going to be sending out close to 200,000 pieces of material, both to Cuba and Mexico.
Wow, close to 200,000.
200,000, sir.
Free. We're donating
Free.
that free to them.
That is
So the Bible Answers in English, we have it
We
in
have a
English.
picture of that, what
Yeah.
that looks
Yeah.
like. We'll show what the Bible answers.
Yeah, we have it in Spanish for them, Respuestas Bíblicas, and we have that going. We have 180 pieces of literature that's going to Cuba, and we have 70,000 pieces of literature that's going to Mexico.
That's huge. So you're seeing an increase in the hunger or the
The
appetite
hunger, that's correct.
for Christ.
That is
People are
correct.
wondering what's going on. And so you
See,
guys are meeting that need with the literature.
Our motto is, the answer for crime is Christ. And we believe in seeing Christ indwelling in the people's hearts holistically. So we're not just ministering to their souls. We're saying, listen, we want to teach you how to be self-reliant. We want to develop you so that you know who you are. We see the whole man.
Yes. So in other words, you're implementing Christ's method of evangelism.
Yes.
Look at you right on point, sir.
I
That's
got
correct.
you. I'm with
We're
you.
mingling with people where they are.
Yes.
We see the prisoners in their need. There's a lot of talk about what's changing their lives, okay? Transformation. But if they don't get the right material to feed their brains, they will never change. And so we're committed in our new leadership to provide fresh, new, innovative material
Yes.
that will transform their thinking. And when you transform their thinking, you got a new man that can re-enter society and not just survive,
Yeah.
but thrive. We really believe God just doesn't want prisoners to come out and say, all right, I'll make it. No, we want to see them thrive spiritually and financially.
So let's talk about your needs. What are the needs of the organization? Because you're sending a lot of stuff out for free. So what are your needs?
Well, one of the things that we are needing is we are trying to prepare our community for receiving, not just for the prisoners, but also for those who re-enter society, this 330K project. We are needing funds to make sure that's available for our prisoners, and we believe that when they get this, because we have a captive audience.
Yes.
The prisoner has time, and they tell us all the time, we have a lot of time. We love reading material.
Absolutely.
And this is the material that they need to receive. So it's wonderful to have this available. So we need funds to make that available for the prisoners.
Okay.
And
then we're also, on our properties in Verbena, Alabama, we're developing a retreat center.
Nice.
Not just for ex-offenders, but for chaplains, for wardens, for preachers, because we really want to minister to more than just the prison population. Actually, we want to minister to those who are having to work with prisoners, inside prisoners. So we need funds to continue to complete our retreat center right there in Verbena.
And if someone wants to get involved, how can they do that?
they can call our organization. We have on the website, you can see we have a staff that will receive you lovingly. We have a great staff that you can call, and if your church does not have a local prison ministry, we are prepared to help any local church start their own prison ministry. So they can call us, and definitely if they want to make a donation, you can do that on our website.
I want to put all your contact info up real quick. We're going to put up the contact page, and if you would just read, if they want to send you mail, how can they do that?
They can send the information to United Prison Ministries International, P.O. Box 8, Verbena, Alabama, 36091, and the phone number is 205-755-4744. You can contact us at our website at UPMI.org.
And when you go to our website, there is a donation button, and we would want folks to just get excited with. We want everybody to catch prison fever.
Yes.
And support what we're doing.
Well, can I say this?
Absolutely.
One of the things that I've found as we've talked about prison ministry, and I'm so thankful. It's a privilege for us to be in this position to really make a difference in the lives of prisoners and their families. We don't know anyone whose life has not been touched by prison ministry.
Yes.
Everyone, every church has someone that's incarcerated or a family member that's incarcerated. Everyone knows at least one person who is incarcerated. And I said, wow, this is far-reaching. So for us to be in this position, we're so grateful. So we need your prayers, and we ask that God will continue to open the doors for us to make a difference.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you're doing such a wonderful work, and I love how you put it because, you know, the person that gets arrested isn't the only one doing time. There are a lot of people that are impacted by those decisions and by those consequences. So I want to thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for coming on the program today. And I want to thank you for joining us. I can't believe our time is up. But until next time, may God richly bless you. God bless.